We'll call the meeting of the Pennington County Planning Commission to order. Roll call. Commissioner Litzen is not here yet. Is she going to be here, Jerry, do you know?
As far as I know.
Okay. And Commissioner Hadcock is representing the county board. Item number 1, approval of the November 9th, 2015 minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read through those? It was a pretty short meeting.
Move approval as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the November 9th minutes as presented in the packet. Is there any discussion first? No, hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the agenda. Would anybody like to make a motion on approval of the agenda as it's written?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as written. Is there any discussion? EJ, would you like to, do you have any recommendations on the agenda?
Not yet.
Okay. Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. Number 3, recognition of designation. P.J. Conover, Planning Director, and Brittany Molitor, Water Protection Coordinator, ASFPM certified floodplain managers, and also certified through SDDOT on the field of erosion and sediment control and stormwater management. Congratulations to you both.
Brittany and PJ, would you guys come to the podium, please? Need to read some information for the public, also from the Board of Commissioners. On May 6, 2015, Director PJ Conover and Water Protection Coordinator Brittany Molitor became certified through the South Dakota Department of Transportation in the field of erosion and sediment control and stormwater management. In addition, on October 23, 2015, Director PJ Conover and Water Protection Coordinator Brittany Molitor became certified floodplain managers through the Association of State Floodplain Managers and Certification Board of Regents. Mr. Conover and Ms. Molitor join a select group of less than 35 individuals across South Dakota who currently hold this certification. Awesome job. So move that the Board of Commissioners that we congratulate PJ and Brittany for their outstanding accomplishments. Their professionalism and dedication to the continuing education is a great example of the staff and the team we have here at Pennington County. We are proud of their certifications and know they will continue to serve our residences with professionalism and now a higher level of knowledge of water protection, and appreciate their dedication to all Pennington County residences. Thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys.
Much, Commissioner. Consent calendar. The following items have been placed on the consent calendar for action to be taken on all items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the Pennington County Board of Commissioners, who, as always, will make the final decision. Would anybody like to pull an item from the consent calendar? I would like to pull item number 9, please. PJ, would staff like to pull anything?
Number 8.
Number 8. All right, would you read the remaining items into the record, please, PJ?
PJ Conover, Director of Planning Department. Item number 4, Conditional Use Permit Review 9846 for Terrence Crowell, Chuck Voorhees, the new owner, to allow for an analytical practice and law office as a home occupation in limited agriculture district. Staff recommends to end Conditional Use 9846. Item number 5, Conditional Use Permit 0058 for Mitch Morris, Dakota Kart Racers, to review a go-kart racetrack in general commercial district. Staff recommends, let me check here a second. Staff recommends the extension of CUP 0058 with 10 conditions. Item 6, Conditional Use Permit 0220 for Artis Elwood to review a single-wide mobile home to be used as a single-family residence in a limited agriculture district. Staff recommends to end conditional use permit 0220. Item 7, conditional use permit review 0845 for Elaine Anderson. Stephanie Anderson is the agent to review a single-wide mobile home to be used as a temporary residence while constructing a single-family residence in a low-density residential district. Staff recommends to continue the review of CUP 0845 to the January 11th, 2016 Planning Commission meeting. Skipping over to item number 10, conditional use permit review 1325, Prairie Berry LLC, to review 2 illuminated on-premise signs within 1,500 feet of a dwelling unit and residential zoning district in a highway service district. Staff recommends approval of the extension of CUP 1325 with 3 conditions. Item 11, conditional use permit review 1413 for Hysiga Meadows Water Incorporated. Larry Diebert is the agent to review a contractor storage yard during the period of construction of Hysiga Waterline Project located in a low-density residential district. Staff recommends to end conditional use permit 1413. Item 12, conditional use permit 1431 for Walter and Barbara Digman to review an existing residence to be used as a temporary residence while building a single-family residence in a limited agriculture district. Staff recommends approval of the extension of CUP 1431 with 4 conditions. Item 13, conditional use permit 1536 for Donald and Margaret Norton to review an existing shop building with living quarters to be used as a guest house on the low-density residential district. Staff recommends to continue CUP 1536 to December 7th, 2015 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you, PJ.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's the consent calendar. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar? Items 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to pull any of those items that PJ just read for further discussion before we vote on them? No? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar as?
So, go ahead.
I move approval of consent calendar 4 through 7 and 10 through 13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as PJ read it. Would anybody like to make further comment, more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The consent calendar is approved. We move to item 8.
Thank you.
Good morning, Brittany Molitor. Item 8, I just want to do a correction on it. Under the agent, C-Tech Engineering is now AE2S, so change that for the record. And the agent address is 1516 Concourse Drive, Rapid City, South Dakota, 57703. So I just want to make those changes for the record.
57703. Okay, that's it. A2S, and the agent address is 1516 Concourse Drive.
1560, 1560.
1560 Concourse Drive, 57703.
I move approval of agenda item 8 with the correction as noted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a conditional use permit review CU 0933 with the corrections noted. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
On to item 9. Thank you, Brittany.
Good morning, Planning Commissioners. Kelsey Roush, Planning Department. All right, this is this conditional use permit review 1307 for Jack Bratt to review an operation of a dude ranch to include lodging and horse trail rides in a general agriculture district. Do you have questions for me?
Yes, I just have one question. I note that you went out to Mr. Bratt's property on November 17th.
Yes.
But you didn't mention how you got there and how you got back and what the condition of the roads are, because that's always been kind of the issue for us.
Yes, I did use what is now called Presidio Ranch Road to get all the way to the property. We instead of going up the section line road like he is supposed to be using, I think he had his gates locked and everything up there, so I did not go that way. Last year when PJ reviewed it, it was passable. They did drive that way. I just didn't go this way this here. This road is, I mean, it's not horrible. You gotta go slow. It's pretty bumpy. And actually, the Forest Service Road, which is now Presidio Ranch Road, is actually worse than the private drive that Jack Bratt has been using. He maintains most of that himself, I think. But the Forest Service Road is much bumpier and a little, you have to drive a lot slower on it than you do on the private road that Jack actually uses. And then this is his gate at the edge of his property, where the private drive that is technically owned by the northern property owner. This is his gate, and it was unlocked for us. So,
Okay, so the roads are passable?
yes.
Although you didn't go on the section line, so you
Right, I
don't really know what the status is
This
of
year,
that
I don't
one?
know, but as of last November, yes, it was still passable.
Okay, well, because his neighbor to the north is not here to make objection, I guess he must be okay with Mr. Bratt's use of that road. Are there any other comments from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I noticed there's some reference there to, well, we don't have a definition of what a drivable road is. Now, I understand language cannot be as precise as numbers, perhaps, in defining conditions and circumstances, but it seems like there ought to be some effort to semantically define drivable. You know, some additional conditions and/or modifiers that would suggest what would constitute a drivable road. I mean, it would seem, because this does come up often. It seems like when these sort of outback situations, if you will. So that would just be a comment on my part. I don't know where we go with this exactly, but it does seem like there ought to be some effort to do that.
Last year when I reviewed it, we talked with Tom, superintendent down in the highway department. He said DOT, I don't know the exact verbiage, but basically uses the drivable, the following definition for drivable is that if it's passable with a two-wheel drive vehicle. But that wasn't adopted by the planning commission last time this was reviewed.
Passable under all, or
two-wheel
most
drive.
weather conditions, if the road is, you know, and the road is dry and firm, this is very easy to do in almost any vehicle, but
When I was out there last year, it had about 4 or 5 inches of snow. We had a four-wheel drive vehicle. We took all the roads, the section line and the private drive, and it was passable with that.
yeah. Well, I understand that the amount of traffic is minimal. It's not like you're, you know, accommodating large numbers of vehicles, but anyway, it does seem like if that's the definition, passable by a two-wheel vehicle most of the time is, I don't know, maybe that's the closest we can get? I don't know.
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
Madam Chair?
please, Lori.
I think that's why we included condition 8. I think that's why condition 8 is worded the way it is. We avoid making that judgment. We just say, you know, you have to maintain it to 12 foot during a certain period of time.
Yeah, there was considerable discussion about it last time.
Yeah.
And when I did meet up with Jack and his wife, they were, this spring, they were thinking about not operating anymore. And so they only had a couple people.
Oh, you mean
last
because
spring-
business was
last
so?
spring, yes.
Yeah, okay,
I'm guessing they won't be open for very many more years.
okay.
So,
And that was another thing we discussed, was that if their guests don't want to drive the road, they go pick them up.
right.
You know, they talked
exactly.
about that during our previous meetings, too.
Yeah. So maybe a couple more years at most, I would think.
All right.
It's getting
Well,
pretty
anyway,
hard for them to operate on their own, and they can't find somebody to help, so.
I do remember the, thank you.
All right, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion for approval of conditional use permit CU 1307 with staff's recommended 10 conditions. If nobody will do it, I will make that motion since I'm the one that pulled it from the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve conditional use permit review CU 1307 with 10 conditions. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to item 14.
Good morning, Cassie Bolstead, Assistant Planning Director. Item 14, let me get it pulled up here for you. Item 14 is a rezone and comprehensive plan amendment to rezone 7.82 acres from General Agriculture District to Low Density Residential District, and also to rezone 2.0 acres from General Agriculture District to Suburban Residential District, and to amend the comprehensive plan from light industrial to those zoning districts as well. The applicant is David and Laura Moore. What they are requesting to do here is they are requesting to rezone the subject properties in order to bring them into compliance with lot size requirements. As these properties exist today, Lot 5 here, this bigger lot down here, is 7.82 acres. Access is off of Country Road via a shared access easement that was platted. It currently contains a single-family residence, a shed, and a detached garage. Lot 6 is the smaller lot here. It's 2.0 acres, also accessed via that platted shared access easement. It has a double-wide mobile home and several small sheds on it. The reason for this rezone is this property lies within the 3-mile platting jurisdiction of Box Elder, and was replatted with Box Elder in July of this year to create lots 5 and 6 as they are right now. Since they are zoned General Agriculture District, neither one of these meet that lot size requirement, so they had to be rezoned. So what they are wanting to do is they are wanting to rezone Lot 5, which is the 7.82 acre parcel from general agriculture to low density residential district, which is a minimum 3 acre lot size, and Lot 6, which is 2.0 acres from general agriculture to suburban residential. I should also mention that there is a conditional use permit on this property currently. It was approved in 2014 to allow a caretaker's residence. That will actually be placed on a future agenda to be revoked, as this up here, the home that is on Lot 6, was the caretaker's residence. Now that it's on its own lot, we don't need that conditional use permit anymore. So we will be revoking that conditional use permit. Within 0.5 miles of these properties, pretty much every zoning district exists. The residential, commercial, light and heavy industrial, even general and limited ag. So this rezone appears to fit the surrounding properties. As well as with the comprehensive plan amendment, the future land use designation for these properties is actually light industrial. So they have requested to also amend the comprehensive plan to match the rezoning that they're wanting to do. So Lot 5 would be low density residential and Lot 6 would be suburban residential. Same thing exists with the surrounding future zoning. Within 0.5 miles, there's pretty much every zoning for the future zoning as well. This was routed through the interdepartmental review process. Nothing of significance came back with that, so staff does recommend approval of rezone 1514 and comprehensive plan amendment 1513.
Thank you, Cassie. Are there any questions for Cassie? Yes, Commissioner?
You're going to go into, you have suburban residential right next to light industrial?
For future, well, no, I guess there is some light industrial right here, but there already is suburban residential on the other side of it here.
Well, the road is kind of a buffer, I believe, whether it be Country Road or even Fish Drive. I mean, you want some kind of buffer before light industrial. My concern is putting suburban residential again right next to light industrial. For future, you can do some, what can you do on light industrial in the county? The same as the city?
Light industrial, I don't have my.
Well, I'm saying that as we just did some highway district area. And then we put residents around it, and now they are building, you know, zip lines and different things in those areas.
Oh, sure.
Well, that was highway services.
Highway service, sorry.
Yeah, light industrial is manufacturing, wholesaling, warehousing, bulk storage, contractors, equipment storage yards, things like that.
Like chemicals and things like that.
Yep, building material sales, lumber, auction houses, water treatment, pumping facilities.
That's why I said with comprehensive plans, sometimes that doesn't really work because we're just putting things in areas which they request. And a lot of times people have a hard time shutting that down. But again, you're putting light industrial right next to suburban residential and have before. I think that's a big concern.
And if you look on this up here, Fish Drive comes to right here, and actually these properties down here are light industrial too, but then these ones over here are suburban residential, so.
I think according to the map, those are suburban residential.
Which ones?
They're orange.
Those two little ones.
Yeah, those are orange, according to the future land use.
That's future land use,
Oh,
though.
future land use,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, right now, these ones are
Current
Light
county
industrial,
zoning.
okay.
light industrial, yep. Future land use for those is
Suburban
suburban
residential.
residential, but right now they're light industrial.
But I mean, isn't that suburban residential moving to the west? It looks like it's expanding, west and south.
For future land use,
There's a bunch.
It says light industrial, but I mean, you know, what's happening is that housing is moving into that area.
Well, and that's my concern is when we're doing future land use or we're approving people's areas, look to the future instead of just now, because you could put a lot of different light industrial around, right next to suburban residential, chemicals right next to septics and different things aren't always such a great idea. I don't know how we avoid it, but
Does the city's land use plan extend out that far? Do we have a sense of what the city expects in that North Valley?
yeah, this would be Box Elder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Box Elder said that they have no objection.
Okay.
right. Just people that move there later that have to deal with the issues is the problem.
Are there any further comments? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this issue? Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve rezone 15-14 and comprehensive plan amendment CA 15-13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve rezone RZ 1514 and comprehensive plan amendment CA 1513. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same
Aye.
sign.
Aye.
Please note that Commissioner Hadcock voted against. Motion carries. On to item 15, and it's you again.
Me again. Item 15 is rezone 1513 and comp plan amendment 1512. This is to rezone 1.309 acres from limited agriculture district to suburban residential district, and to amend the comprehensive plan to change future land use from limited agriculture district to suburban residential district. The applicant here is Larry Tuber. This is kind of a similar situation. He is requesting to rezone a portion of what is currently a lot so that he can finish the platting process with the city of Rapid City. As this lot exists today, it is 20.36 acres. Its access is off of Clarkson Road via an existing approach. There is 100-year floodplain on the property. However, all the existing structures appear to be outside of the floodplain boundaries. Currently, it contains a single-family residence, a guest house, and a detached garage. What he is proposing to do here with the city is to plat off, the guest house is located right here. He is platting off the guest house portion. So he is putting a lot line approximately right here to make that its own lot. So that would be proposed Lot A. That would have just the guest house on it. It would be 1.309 acres. And then proposed Lot B would be the remainder of it, which would be 19.054 acres, and have the single-family residence and detached garage. Right now, there is also a conditional use permit on this property for a guest house. If the rezoning and plating is approved, we would also be able to end that conditional use permit as well as the guest house would be on its own lot. So since this is within the 3-mile plating jurisdiction of this city, Mr. Tuber is actually already in the process of plating this with the city of Rapid City, but they required him to come get approval of the rezone first before the plating process could go forward. So with the surrounding zoning right now, for this property, current surrounding zoning within 0.5 miles, there's general ag, limited ag, low density residential, and suburban residential. So it appears by rezoning to suburban residential, that it fits the area, within 0.5 miles. And for comp plan amendment, future land use is again still limited ag. And for future land use zoning within 0.5 miles, there's limited ag, low density residential, and suburban residential. This was routed through the interdepartmental review process. The city of Rapid City did say that the city's future land use plan identifies the appropriate use of the property as forest conservation with a primary use of open lands and a secondary use of large single-family lots with a minimum 3-acre lot size. I did look, there are lots within 0.5 miles that don't meet that 3-acre lot size. But that is the only comment that came back that was somewhat significant to this rezone request. However, staff feels that it is still appropriate based on the surrounding zoning. So staff does recommend approval of rezone 1514 and comprehensive plan amendment 1513.
Are there any questions for Cassie? Yes, Lori.
I just want to make sure, on the plat here, it looks like the lot is like the lot A is the western portion of the existing lot,
Yes.
but on this thing, the colored thing, it's L-shaped.
Yeah, as it is right now, it's L-shaped. They're actually going to plat off this. This isn't the entire, this plat that you have is missing the bottom section of it here. That's just zoned in on the section that he's rezoning.
So it's actually going to be an L-shaped lot?
Yes, yep, the remainder of it will still be this L-shaped. He's also doing he's reconfiguring several of these lot lines up here. He's making one lot up here bigger, so he's reconfiguring some lot lines he owns pretty much this whole area right here. So he's reconfiguring some lot lines.
Are there further questions? I have one. The lot size, Lot B, the big one, is going to be, it won't meet the minimum lot size requirements for limited ag, right?
It will, because it'll be 19.04 acres, and limited ag is a 10-acre minimum requirement.
I thought for some reason it was 20, never mind then. Are there any further questions? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes? Yes, please come forward and identify yourself so we know who you are.
Thank you. My name is Vern Osterloh. I live at 23605 Wilderness Canyon Road. That's in Copper Oaks number 1, which is the development just to the south of all this. I know it's in the canyon up above. The question I had is listening, you're going to suburban residential and then cutting off that from the large lot. Now, the large lot is general ag then, or ag?
Limited ag.
Limited ag.
Okay, why do we have to go to suburban residential? Because of the size of that lot of 1?
Yes, yep.
How would that affect us as adjacent landowners then? Having suburban, because I looked at some of the conditional uses and permitted uses for suburban residential, and some of those things kind of scare you.
Actually, suburban residential, PJ, correct me if I'm wrong, would be more restrictive on what he can do than limited ag would be.
Okay, and then you said there's a future plan coming for Larry for the rest of the agriculture area?
No, he's just requesting to also change the future land use to suburban residential as well to match what he's wanting to rezone it to.
Okay, another concern I have is, I just moved out there last year in October, and I'm going through some paperwork. In 2001, Mr. Tuber had vacated part of Clarkson Road that goes into the creek bottom and then eventually goes up into our development. Now, we've got Copper Oaks Development, we're number one, we've got 25 residences. There's Copper Oaks number 2, Copper Oaks number 3, and that whole Quartz Canyon area. And we only got one outlet out to Highway 16. But we have lots of residents there. So our emergency egress in case of a fire is down the fire trail between lots, I think, 10 and 11. It winds down to that area that in 2001 that Dr. Tuber had vacated. And I just want to make sure that even though it's vacated, I don't have a problem with that. That keeps the public off that road. But is there still an easement there so that me as a board member on the Copper Oaks number 1, plus we want to go down there and at least maintain that forward egress, because, you know, this spring before we had the 9 inches of rain, it was pretty dry out there. And I was worried about some sort of a fire that would box us into this area here.
Right.
So I guess I've got a question of staff there. Is any of this changing this, or did we overlook the fact that we need an easement to get out of the Copper Oaks subdivision in case of a fire?
That would be stuff that would be addressed through the plating with the city.
Through Dr. Tuber's plat?
Yeah, the city would look at roads and ingress and egress and things like that through their plating process.
I think that Mr. Osterloh's question, though, has to do with the portion of Clarkson Road that has been vacated.
That's correct. I'm okay with the suburban. I guess I'm just, as I looked through this paperwork on here and went back, I saw that, and it's kind of disturbing that, you know, if, not saying that any person,
I get
when they vacate proper, or public property, that's really private property there, unless there's an easement through there. He could put up a big fence or barrier or stone barrier, and here we have a fire, and we got all our people coming down the trail there, and there's no place to go.
Do we have a picture, Chair, of that vacated area by chance, Cassie? What he's talking about?
I don't think I have a,
Do you have a general idea where it's at?
it's right here. It's this portion of the road right here.
This is the vacated portion down here, right next to our lots.
Do we have an expanded overhead?
Yeah, where does that tie to the Copper Oaks?
Yeah, we'd like to look at.
And thank you taking the time to help me.
Oh, that's okay. We understand. It's an issue. Egress is always something to think about.
Is this Copper Oaks? Just north of 16, I think it is. Oh, it's over there. Oh, okay.
It's the Copper Oaks, if you look at the colored page in our agendas, Copper Oaks is the orange stuff down in the lower left corner. Red Fox Court, Quartz Canyon Lane, Wilderness Canyon Road.
Yeah, see, everything to the lower right hand, that's all Copper Oaks there. That's
Right.
12, 13, and lots 14.
We have a picture of Clarkson Road. Structural location, you have a picture of Clarkson Road. Cassie, is it somewhere on there?
Well, there you go, right up there, that little finger that comes through, down
Right here?
a little bit more to the right. Down,
This
to the
right here?
left.
Oh, right here?
Yeah, right there, that's the vacated portion. Right there, that's all the vacated portion of Clarkson Road. Our trail comes down to the left from Copper Oaks over there to connect up with that Clarkson Road.
Doesn't make sense. He said it's down
I
here.
could just move you.
Yeah, can you get
All
the,
vacated right now, and our trail comes in from right here, and then from up above on Copper Oaks number 1. But we use this to come around and then get into Clarkson Road and then to go out.
isn't that a
That's
cliff?
the floodplain.
Yeah,
Clarkson Road's up on the top,
right.
according to
Yes.
this plat.
Yeah.
But on the, I guess I could show you this.
Okay, yeah.
Can you,
May I
that'd be a
approach
good
the
Yeah,
bed?
sure, please.
Here's the lot 2B up here, and then here is our, this is Copper Oaks number 1 up here. So back in 2001, this was all vacated, through here, and this collection road goes all the way up here and then goes up.
Oh, it
through
goes
the
down
top.
and around.
And see, we've got a fire trail
Okay.
that goes up here, and we've kept that maintained after that 2011 blizzard. We went down there and cleared out all the fallen stuff, because this is our only way out of the whole
That swing
Right.
thing.
development up here.
It's this
So that would be,
This
the
curvy part.
Clarkson Road comes down into the canyon and then back up and around?
That's
Is that
correct. It comes
correct?
down to the creek bottom and then follows the creek up here and
comes
then
back
it comes up in our area.
Okay.
If he vacated the road, I thought you couldn't use that, did that become his property
where
after
was
he
it
Look on
vacated?
here,
then?
it says 33
It
foot
comes
wide
down
emergency
here.
access. That continues down here, right?
And then goes
See how this
back
says
up
33
and
foot
around.
emergency
Yeah,
exit?
this creek.
Well, it doesn't say that one on the.
It's not
Okay, so
really
it's
clear.
not inside the
vacation right away. This is
parcel in
what went
question.
into-
Right.
This is part
We're
of
talking here.
vacated over here.
But it says on here, this is emergency access.
It comes around in like this and then heads up.
So
into
doesn't
our
it
area.
continue?
Well, that's what I'm asking. If they vacated this portion here, does it continue around here? Do we have an easement to be able to get out there?
Because it does say up here that it's an emergency access easement, up on this, the top portion.
Right.
Commissioners, if the neighbor doesn't have any objection to the rezone, I propose that we move forward with the approval of the rezone, and we can address his questions outside of the meeting.
Would you be okay with that, Mr. Osterlo?
I do. It doesn't seem that the suburban residential is going to be affecting us too much as a development.
Okay. I would suggest
you.
then that you just speak with staff after the meeting, and they'll try and at least get a handle on what your questions are and try and help you. Will that work?
Sure.
Just, with the rezone, you can't put conditions on it, so I mean, that is something that
Right.
needs to be worked out with staff or through a different process, but rezone's basically up or down vote, so.
But just a question, if you rezone it to suburban residential, is that road gonna make a difference for those people that we are rezoning it for as well? That would be my question, to have more people go in there with a vacated road that we don't know about. And not have access, like he's saying, to their area with a vacated road. Where are they going into that, to that suburban residential area?
But the lot that we're going to rezone is at the top where the road has not been vacated yet, so it shouldn't affect them. Correct, Cassie?
Yes, the one that's being rezoned is up here at the top of the lot. That road comes,
It has nothing to do with this rezoning. That road doesn't.
right, because that road would come
Goes through lot.
this way, and being rezoned is up here.
Yeah, it does, actually, part of the vacated road does cross the southwest portion of
Lot
that
A.
Lot A.
And that's my concern. You're gonna
According to
have more
this.
people on a vacated road for what you just rezoned. Is there gonna be
Runs
a
all along
problem
that edge.
before we decide to do that, to make sure that road is something that we could use for the future? For all residences?
Isn't that part of the city plating process within the 3 mile? It's,
Yeah, but if you're rezoning
there.
it, do you see what I'm saying? But if
Yeah.
you're rezoning it, and that isn't, I mean, it should be a concern before you rezone, before you decide to put a bunch of people there that might not have more access. And maybe that's not quite the thinking, but
I think it's kind of chicken or the egg. You can't, if
Right.
it's not rezoned, the city can't take plating action.
right.
And so to do the plating action to correct that, you need the rezone first.
Right,
If they plat it, or rezone it, they plat it, then they would address the access, the vacated access. Is that what you're saying?
So basically, what you have to make sure is that the emergency access gets put on the plat, right?
Right.
through the city's
Through the city.
process.
So who's responsible for that?
The city identifies access and things like that through the plating.
But you get to
process.
review it, don't you?
We get routed on them to see it, yeah.
So you have to make a note that you want to make sure that that emergency access is on the new plat, right? Okay.
And
Yeah.
that ought to take care of it. Although I would recommend that you also go to the city and express your issues with them as well, so that it's on their radar when they're replatting, or when they're platting this piece
Know
of
how far in the
property.
future this replating is going to be?
He's already started it. It just kind of got held up by us needing to do the rezone first. I did also want to mention that the fire coordinator also gets included on routings from the city, and he would have a comment too on access.
So I would call like Vicky Fisher, since they already are plating, that you want to make that a concern and make sure that they know that that's a vacated road. They probably do.
I'll set up appointment with Vicky then.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks for hearing me.
you bet. Okay. Do we have, we don't have a motion yet, do we?
I
No.
move approval of rezone RZ 15-14 and comprehensive plan amendment CA 15-13.
Second.
Is there further discussion? There's a problem. The staff report at the beginning says it's rezone 1513 and comprehensive plan amendment 1512. And on the recommendation at the end of the staff report, it says 1514 and 1513. Do you know which one is correct?
1513 and 1512.
Okay. Can we amend our motions then to reflect that? 1513 and 1512?
It is 12.
It's 13 and 12. 1513 rezone and comprehensive plan amendment 1512.
Amend my motion.
Is that all right with the seconder? Who seconded the motion? Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve rezone RZ 1513 and comprehensive plan amendment CA 15-12. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to item 16.
All
Cassie.
right. You get me one more time. Okay, so item 16 is a minor plat PL 1526 to reconfigure lot lines to create lots 4R, 5R, and 6R of Morris Subdivision number 4. The applicant here is Stacy Titus. There are also two other landowners involved in this, Daryl Rave and Greg Sandberg, and Ann Rinke Sandberg. As this exists right now, these four lots, lot 4 here, they're all zoned suburban residential district. Lot 4 here is 0.4 acres. They're all located within the Morris Place Road District, so road authority is under them. All of them are accessed off of Morris Place via existing roads. Lot 4 here contains a single-family residence with an attached garage and deck, and also an existing on-site wastewater treatment system. Lot 5 is this middle lot. This lot contains a single-family residence with an attached deck and a detached garage and an existing on-site wastewater treatment system. Lot 6 contains a single-family residence, a detached garage, and an existing on-site wastewater treatment system. What they are wanting to do here is basically just reconfigure some lot lines to better suit the residential improvements that have been made on the lots. So lot 4R right here would be 0.427 acres, which would be a 0.027 acre increase to that lot. It would still contain just a single family residence with an attached garage and an on-site wastewater treatment system. Lot 5R would be 0.504 acres. That would be a 0.006 acre decrease to that lot. It would still contain the same single-family residence, detached garage, and on-site wastewater treatment system. I do want to note that this plat, if it were approved, would create an underground water service line easement on this portion of this little hatched area right here, would be an underground water service line easement created on that lot with this plat. And then lot 6R over here would be 0.476 acres. That would be a 0.004 acre decrease to that lot. Still would contain a single family residence, detached garage, and on-site wastewater treatment system. This plat would also vacate. There was an existing building setback easement on this lot, which was this little hatched area right here. This plat would actually prove to vacate that easement because they're reconfiguring the lot line around that. So that easement would no longer be needed. So that would be vacated with this this plat. What they are wanting to do, this was continued from the November 9th, 2015 Planning Commission meeting in order for them to submit a subdivision regulations variance request, which they have done and you will hear after this plat request. They are wanting to, like I said, better fit existing residential improvements. There is a letter that was included with their staff report from DC Scott, who was the surveyor on this property, kind of further explaining the benefit that it provides for each of these lots. And the reasoning behind this replatting. The one thing that I do want to mention is proposed lot 4R currently does not meet the 20,000 square foot lot size requirement of a suburban residential district. It still would not meet that requirement. So approval from the South Dakota DENR would be needed for the on-site wastewater treatment system that's currently serving lot 4R. And currently lot 4R is legal non-conforming with its lot size. That's why it doesn't have a variance on it right now. The proposed plat is actually increasing the acreage of this lot, so it would still be legal non-conforming. They're not increasing the non-conformity, they're actually decreasing it by adding more acreage to that lot. And they're not changing the structures or the existing on-site wastewater treatment system that are on that lot already, nor are they expanding the use. So I did just want to point out that with regard to lot size, the legal non-conforming status on that lot would remain. This was routed through the interdepartmental review process. The county water protection coordinator did make comments regarding the lot size on proposed lot 4R, and that approval would be needed from DENR for the requirements of the on-site wastewater treatment system. That was the only significant issue that came back. All three of those lots have been issued operating permits for their on-site wastewater treatment systems, so they are all functioning as they should be. So staff has added a condition to the plat that the on-site wastewater treatment system be approved by DNR prior to filing the plat. So staff does recommend approval of minor plat 1526 with 4 conditions.
Thank you, Cassie. Are there any questions for Cassie? Mr. Titus, would you like to speak? Do you have anything to add?
Thank you. I'm Stacy Titus, owner of Lot 5. I have my wife Madison with me today, and I'm representing Daryl Rave and Ann and Greg Sandberg. And this was just a deal where we wanted to clean up the lot lines on the side of the property to better fit the topography out there. So I would ask that the commission support and approve both items 16 and 17 today, and I would appreciate it. I did want to note, we did send a letter to South Dakota DNR Scott Hipple regarding Lot 4R. We have not gotten a response back, but that is in process as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Cassie? Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion.
I move for approval of minor plat PL 1526 with 4 conditions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve minor plat PL 1526 with 4 conditions as recommended by staff. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to
Item 17 is the subdivision regulations variance request that goes along with that minor plat. It's SV 1515. What they are requesting for subdivision regulation variances is the requirement for street paving improvements. Access to these subject properties is taken from Morris Place, which is under the jurisdiction of the Morris Place Road District. So any road improvements would be under the authority of that road district. The second subdivision regulation that they are requesting to waive is requirement for sewer and water main design and construction. Each of these 3 properties already has an existing on-site wastewater treatment system, and all 3 of them are served by a community water system. The third item is requirement for installation of utility conduits and sidewalks. All necessary utilities are already in place for the existing single-family residences. There are currently no other sidewalks along Morris Place. It is a gravelled road. And the fourth requirement that they are requesting to waive is minimum lot size requirements. Per Pennington County subdivision regulations, it states that no existing lot shall be altered such that existing on-site wastewater treatment system or reserve area would be adversely affected. Proposed lots 5 and 6 will meet the minimum lot size requirements. As we discussed, proposed lot 4 will not, so they're going to need to get approval from DENR. But since they are decreasing the nonconformity of the lot, staff does not feel that the on-site wastewater treatment system will not be adversely affected. They are actually increasing the lot size there. This was routed through the interdepartmental review process. Nothing significant came back there. Staff does have 2 recommendations on this request. Staff is recommending approval of a portion of subdivision regulations variance SV 1515 to waive the requirement for street paving improvements, the requirement for sewer and water main design and construction, and the requirement for installation of utility conduits and sidewalks. Staff is recommending denial of the request to waive the minimum lot size requirements, as approval is needed from the South Dakota Department of Environment and Natural Resources for that.
Thank you, Cassie. Are there questions? Is there any discussion? Mr. Titus, do you have anything to add this time? No? Okay. Chair would entertain a motion.
Move approval for staff's recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the subdivision regulations variance SV 1516 to waive street paving improvements, sewer and water main design and construction, and installation of utility conduits and sidewalks, and to deny subdivision regulations variance SV 1515 to waive minimum lot size requirements. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Chair would, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On
Thank
to
you.
item 18. Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you, Cassie. Item 18, conditional use permit CU 1520 to allow for construction equipment sales on the subject property in general commercial district. The applicant is Mitch Morris, and the size of the property is 27.48 acres. The applicant is in the audience today. The applicant has applied for CU 1520 to sell construction equipment on the subject property. The sale of the construction equipment within a general commercial zoning district is a conditional use under our zoning ordinance. And the applicant is also requesting that there be added the sale of construction supplies to this conditional use permit. As you recall, this property was recently rezoned from, I believe it was general agriculture and light industrial to general commercial. There's the track, the racetrack, the go-kart racetrack, CU 0058, which was just continued earlier in this meeting. This is the other permit now that's required on the lot because a contractor's salvage yard, which is what the items on the left there, all the trucks and everything that you see, it was allowed under the light industrial, however, under general commercial it is not. The applicant and staff met, and the applicant has decided to request the contractor's equipment sales be allowed on the property in general commercial, which it is. He's allowed to apply for the permit through a conditional use permit. There's been some back and forth with staff and the applicant, but where we are today on November 20, for today's meeting, November 23rd, there was a site visit from staff on November 10th. The subject property appeared around the construction equipment to be organized and well-maintained. This is, I'll just show you a representative picture pretty much of what the property, of what the construction equipment areas look like. There were some high weeds and might need some weed mitigation on the subject property. And Scott Guffey from Weed and Pest Control has also written up a proposal for weed mitigation to be signed by the applicant. As far as construction supply sales go, I know we kind of went back and forth a little bit, the applicant and I have also, on what actually constitute construction supplies. So what the applicant has done is cleaned up the property. and has left the items that he believes would be construction supplies. So here's the first picture, so it looks like you got some pavers there and some concrete tubing. I don't know the exact terminology for all these, Mitch. There's some more there, looks like some giant PVC. This is actually the one spot on the property, pretty much the only spot on the property where staff had concern, just because of the weeds and the organization of the area. The 2 train cars that are in the back, the applicant has stated actually holds and protects from the environment and the weather, some construction material, concrete blankets for warming when the concrete's laid during the winter, and I forget what the other one obtains, but he said once they're sold, the train cars would actually be removed from the property. Coming up with a definition of what supplies are, since we haven't done this before, and construction supply sales is not listed as a conditional use permit in our ordinance. Talked with the applicant previously on November 10th, and actually spoke with him today after he's got a copy of the staff report. Staff did do some research and found a definition from the Business Dictionary of construction materials, which reads, article, item, material, or supply consumed or used in a construction project and incorporated in a construction or building or structure. The applicant has stated that he's acceptable of that definition. It does include also the supplies, which is his original request in addition, and it also is a little bit more, I believe, inclusive of the items he currently has on the property. It also would increase clarity and decrease ambiguity, as it would actually define what is allowed on the property in this conditional use permit. And don't forget, the conditional use permit is for construction equipment sales. Staff is not in any way objecting to what's on the property as far as construction equipment. There is definitely construction equipment on the property. The tricky part of this one is the inclusion of construction materials or supplies on the property. In addition, with this conditional use permit, the applicant would have to require parking on the property. There is no construction equipment sales criteria for parking on the property. The closest thing that we can find, which has been applied before, is automobile wrecking, junk, or salvage yards, in which there's for sale to the public any new or used merchandise. That requires 6 parking spots on the property. In addition to that, it's also 5 more parking spaces. 1 additional parking spaces per every 5 acres is 27 acres, so there'll be 5 additional. So the 6 plus 5 gives us 11, and so staff would be recommending 11 parking spaces on the subject property. There appears to be ample area on the property for parking. This would set a precedent for this commission for allowing construction equipment sales with construction either supply or material sales. There are five criteria which need to be taken into account for approval of conditional use permit. It appears that by allowing this conditional use permit, there will be no negative impact on the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity, as a similar and less regulated operation was in effect for years prior to this. This is actually regulating now what is going to be on the property. The proposed construction equipment sales should not affect any current or future development in a general commercial zoning district. There are utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities in place. Staff, again, will be recommending 11 parking spaces, and all exterior lighting will need to be directed downwards, and the operation should be limited to daytime hours, which staff has put into the conditions. And the surrounding property is relatively low, if not non-existent, in residential zoning. I believe the applicant is the closest resident to this property and should not significantly impact anything in the area. This was routed through the interdepartmental review and no items of significance came up, and staff has 2 possible motions. All the conditions are the same, with the difference being condition number 1, depending on how the Planning Commission would like to move forward.
The difference being?
The first one is for construction equipment sales only, which is the original request. The second would open up condition number 1 to allow for construction equipment sales and some type of definition terminology for supplies of the material you see here. Correct.
Okay. Thank you, PJ.
You're
Does
welcome.
anyone have questions? Yes, Sig.
I guess your statement where it says sale of construction supplies is not permitted or conditional use under general commercial. Where is it approved then?
It's not,
In any zoning district?
not that I'm aware of.
Not even light industrial?
Not construction supply or equipment sales. That verbiage does not exist.
Oh, the tandem usage.
Oh, there's no tandem, definitely,
Okay.
yeah. But he had a salvage yard in light industrial, and I don't know if he sold anything off of there, off the salvage yard.
I'm just thinking about like HD Supply and Dakota Supply Group, they're selling construction supplies. What zoning district are they in then?
Oh, I would have to look.
That's the city,
Yeah, that's right, they're the city.
city,
Both of them? Are they?
I think so. Where's the other one?
That's gone along Catherine, and the other one's Highway 44 in Rapid Valley.
Oh, Lazy P6,
Pardon me?
6, Fifth and Catherine.
Oh, no. Anyway, I mean, I'm just thinking, there are construction supplies that are sold.
There are.
Right, yeah.
It could be warehousing. I'm just looking at some of the verges: manufacturing, wholesaling, storage, assembly, warehousing, bulk storage, foundries, railroads, stockyards, manufacturing, distributing. Those are the type of definitions we have, or loot uses, in light, as of light industrial and heavy.
I mean, there's a bunch of them in the city along Deadwood Avenue.
Would this be like bulk storage?
Well, and Dakota Supply and like HD Supply would probably get away with the wholesaling because it's not
Yeah, they're
retail.
wholesalers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why we're spending so much time talking about this, because the guy's just trying to get rid of his surplus construction stuff. We should encourage him to do that. Right? Yeah.
Well, and I suspect that the difference between, I mean, we seem to be concerned about, you know, where does
Materials.
construction supplies become salvage? And yet, I don't know how you can argue that all these things can be repurposed in a very constructive way. And so I can't imagine that you could exclude really any of these materials.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, the railroad cars, the siding there would be very effective as a counterpoint to a modern, you know, a design in a home or something like, you know, see, there's what happens. I think we're, you know, the orderliness of that maybe leaves something to be desired, but generally, I don't know quite how we exclude much of anything. And so I think the comment that, you know, that Lori made about what are we talking about? Maybe we ought to just move along.
Is there some concern among staff about setting a precedent for this?
This is the first request that I know of that's come up, but all these requests would have to come before this body. In this specific instance, staff and the applicant have worked for a long time on this, and I'm very happy where we are right now on this specific conditional use permit. And staff, I personally don't have an objection to the addition of construction something sales. Depends on how you guys want to define it.
Okay.
Because this does give us the opportunity also, like I said, this is a more regulated use on the property now.
Thank you, PJ. Are there any other questions for staff?
Yeah, I
Barb.
have a question. Why condition number 9, that there are no more than 2 additional employees?
That's a commercial operation, and I've talked with the applicant, and he said that he won't have any more than 2. We just don't want like 50 or 60 down there. So we just put in, if you'd like it removed or increased or decreased, we can do that. The only restriction we have in there as far as employees is if
Right.
the porta potty, essentially, but that's 50 or more.
Are there any additional questions for staff? Mr. Morris, would you like to say anything? Please come to the microphone.
No, I guess this is just a general statement. Thank you for considering this, I guess, first off. And the purpose of this is to clean it up and get rid of it. And in the mechanisms of transferring from light industrial and ag to general commercial, I originally thought that I could sell a lot of this stuff off after the other, but found out that this is needed, so that's why I'm going through this process. The purpose or the end result is to clean it all up and remove it all. That's the end result.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Is there further discussion? If not, Chair would entertain a motion.
I move approval of a conditional use permit, oh, no, wait, this isn't conditional use permit, is it?
Yep.
Conditional use permit 1520. And I would propose that condition 1 say, for construction equipment sales and construction material sales.
Only?
As defined,
Excuse me?
as defined in the staff report.
Yeah, materials could include new and, I mean, used. He's trying to get rid of salvage stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah, but materials, I guess, could be new. He could have new ones if he wants to start selling new ones.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve conditional use permit CU 15-20 with the following 15, or with the staff's recommended 15 conditions. Condition number 1 reworded to say that conditional use permit CU 15-20 be for construction equipment sales and construction material sales only. Is that your motion?
Yep.
Okay. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to item 19.
Item 19 is rezone 1508 and comprehensive plan amendment 1508. The reason this is before you today is to meet a condition that was set by the planning commission previously, that this appear before the planning commission at the first possible planning commission meeting after the applicant provides the planning department in writing that questions, concerns, and requirements from the environmental planner, water protection planner, county ordinance officer, and fire coordinator, and others have been satisfied. The applicant did provide a 2-page written response. It was received by the office, and in talking with the applicant, we've routed his responses to other staff's comments back out for responses again from city staff and from our staff, and the applicant is aware of this, and so staff recommends the continuation of rezone 1508 and CA 1508 until the first possible planning commission meeting after all updated routing comments are returned and staff is able to meet with the applicant to discuss them.
Thank you, PJ. Are there questions? Mr. Morris, do you have anything to say about this one? Okay, thank you. Is there further discussion? Commissioner?
I have something. Again, I don't know if I had said this before, but there's the AC/DC converter across the street.
Right.
And commercial is a great buffer on that road. For that converter, we had a lot of discussion, and we actually rezoned that in the city so people couldn't build around it. They needed some type of commercial or light industrial buffer. So in the future, I won't be against the commercial there. I think it makes sense.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion.
I move to continue rezone 15-08 to what meeting?
The first possible, after,
Okay, so that would be December,
no, there'll be no date.
oh,
Yep.
okay, to the next possible meeting.
And how about comprehensive plan amendment 1508 as well?
Yes, include that in
Include
the
both?
motion, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to continue rezone 15-08 and comprehensive plan amendment 15-08 until the first possible planning commission meeting after all updated routing comments are returned and staff meets with the applicant to discuss them. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Thanks, Mitch.
On to item 20.
Going back one. The Board of Commissioners concurred with the Planning Commission's recommendations from the November 9th, 2015 Planning Commission meeting.
Yay. Are there any items from the public? No public left. Okay. Items from staff.
We've got a few of them today. The first one that's before you is zoning within the 3-mile plating jurisdiction of Rapid City. There have been a couple meetings right now that I've attended with the mayor, representatives from the Board of Commissioners. And what they're asking is that our staff and the Planning Commission look into the possibility of, oh, it doesn't really show up that well on your screens, I apologize. Look at the 3-mile plating jurisdiction for the city of Rapid City and see if what the contradictions are between how the county has it zoned currently in the future land use and how the city has it designated and what their future land use needs are. There's basically been a directive from the mayor and with Lindell's support that we do this. It'd be not a small task. And right now, Box Elder is not involved in the communication, but that would be a recommendation that I make at our next meeting.
How about Meade County? The planning.
We can bring Bill in, that wouldn't be a problem.
Just to be technically correct, you want to just say the city's plating jurisdiction because the airport is only 1 mile from the airport.
Yeah, that's correct. It doesn't even go out that far, yeah. Plating jurisdiction,
Oh, plating jurisdiction around the airport is 1 mile?
Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't meet the 3.
and you can't expand the limits without, like anywhere else, if you plat next to the city limits, then that can become city limits, but at the airport it can't.
It's only a mile.
There's special legislation on that.
Yeah, they call it a 3-mile buffer, we can call it the plating buffer.
And so that's what all that bubble is, right?
Yes,
That
yeah,
extends
if I
up
take it
in-
away,
Meade County?
Extends
Goes
into
away.
Meade County.
yep, correct. And I don't know what their agreement is between the two of them. If we had something across county lines, we would include them in the comments. I don't know how much sway it would be. We've only had one so far that I know of.
So what's the purpose of this? I mean, in the short
So
term?
they're the same and it's not confusing to people.
We're
right?
going to try to
It-
rationalize them, the two?
Yeah, and if we need to create some new zoning districts while we do this as a county, we would do that. There's definitely a
And
need
how
for
does this
that.
relate to the ubiquitous comprehensive plan?
It is a very small fraction of that, but it's a good step forward.
So the bottom line is when you're in the city and like Rapid Valley and the different areas, trying to bring them up to code and annex them based on how we do stuff in the county is expensive, I'll just say that.
And can I make a comment too? I guess the whole idea of this is to have staff do part of the comprehensive plan update instead of paying a consultant to do it, right? You'd be doing it as a collective organization instead of paying a consultant.
That hasn't been discussed,
But that's part of the intent.
staff or someone.
Yeah, that's part of
Yeah,
the intent.
It would have to be updated.
Are there any questions about?
I don't know, one heartburn I've had, because we're doing some work out in that area, but I mean, I don't know, if there's some way to resolve that little odd finger out in Rapid Valley of Box Elder. that comes down.
This?
I see that creating some plating problems for the city going forward.
Or the county islands inside Box Elder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that little finger from Box Elder plating jurisdiction coming down.
It looks like a dialogue cloud. There should be a cartoon character underneath.
And I know that it's partly driven by the 1 mile from the airport, but I mean, there's just, some of that land is gonna be prime for development, probably in the not too distant future, and I see issues there. I don't-
And with every annexation, it grows. That's another thing to keep in mind. So what staff's looking for are possibility to represent, some representatives from Planning Commission to meet with staff, so we can talk about this.
Is anybody interested?
Sure, I will.
I would be interested also.
I
How
got,
many you want, I'd be
Lori
interested.
Sigan,
How many you want?
well, less than quorum, unless you want to have open meetings. Doesn't matter to me.
2 or 3?
3 is less.
Good, if then
We
nobody
can't do
else.
more than 3.
Okay, can't do more than
Okay,
3.
and I'll be in touch with you. We'll set up something probably after Thanksgiving, definitely, so.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice to have your
Okay.
input.
Okay, thank you. Item B, floodplain management.
Well, when you go to the training, you tend to find out some new things, and you also find out some things that you never knew. So while we were there, there's some criteria that counties that are involved in floodplain program through FEMA have to do. And the reason that we're in this program is to regulate, basically for health and safety, and to essentially save money for those that are in the floodplains if a disaster was to strike. So if since the county has chosen to be in the floodplain program through FEMA, it does now have the right to apply for federal assistance if there is a disaster. If we weren't in the program, it would be much more difficult, if not impossible, for us to get it if a flood was to come through. In addition, it also helps regulate and keep some of the rates down for those that choose to live in a floodplain and have to pay that insurance. If we weren't in this program, flood insurance could possibly be much higher and significantly higher for those in the floodplains. They gave a lot of examples of people that are in floodplain programs and those that aren't, and those that are in, the cost is shared across the board. It's a self-sustaining program. It's not really paid with taxpayer dollars. It's just from the insurance premiums. That's what supports the program. So there's different criteria that the county has to do. We're meeting all but one. One criteria is basically a post-construction site visit and inspection. Now, it's not the same as a code inspector, but it's basically someone has to go out and make sure that it was built as high and where they said they were going to build. Sounds familiar with other things that we've wanted to do. However, we believe that this actually would be would have to take priority if we want to maintain in this program. We've talked with the representative from FEMA that was there, and she didn't seem to be too bothered by it. She just basically was under the understanding, well, that's why you come to these classes and trainings, to learn the things that you didn't know. So staff is going to be working diligently to improve the situation, make sure we meet that criteria. One option that we're thinking is to require an as-built from the homeowner through a certified engineer surveyor stamped that shows that the proposed item, structure, building, whatever, was built where they said they were going to and how high they said they were going to. What we have to do then is, before that, is check with FEMA to make sure that that would be acceptable. Because planning department staff does not have the training or the education to go out and shoot those lines or determine the actual elevation. And since the people who had to do the floodplain development permits to build in the floodplain in the first place, have to do HEC-RAS analysis, and they have to do all these other studies. And since the program, all the cost is incurred on the people who choose to live in the floodplain, staff doesn't believe it's out of the realm of possibility for them to have one more document, an as-built, submitted to our office prior to approval. Well, I guess it'd have to be after approval.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question? How many properties does this affect? Do we know in the county?
It's tough. I can pull up the floodplain.
Hundreds
map
or
if you want to.
thousands?
Lot.
Hundreds?
I'd say yes on both.
Thousands?
It's hard to say.
Maybe thousands?
Let me see.
Okay.
City is all built.
That would be interesting to see.
It's a
that.
considerable number.
Are you looking at retroactively what's been built in the floodplain, or are you just going forward?
just moving
Through
forward,
staff's
yeah.
discussion, that's what we'd have to find out through FEMA. If FEMA was to come out here, it's my belief, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if they were to come out here and do basically a site inspection on us, they would list all of those ones that we don't have as-builts for, and we'd have to correct all those, or we could be put on probation. If we're put on probation, then there's other steps for that, and then we could lose the possible funding for disasters, and also all the insurance benefits would go away to the homeowners.
That would go back to what date? Is there a date?
Whoa, when do we take that effect? I don't have it with me in front of me.
I mean, is it like 10 years or 20 years or what?
I would assume probably to when the county adopted FEMA.
Yeah, and that's the date I don't know.
Whenever that was?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the date I don't know. And of course, now, for some reason, it doesn't want to come up, so.
I was going to suggest that you put out a press release that you guys are
Certified.
that you're certified and that flood insurance rates should go down. I mean, everybody's always accusing the county of,
Yeah, that you're doing that to keep rates down.
yeah, right.
We're definitely being able to move things faster through the office now. And West to Cheddar out of the Highway Department is still very helpful in this process. So,
Yeah, go toot your own horn
Sorry,
a
it's-
little bit.
Okay, well, it's a bunch. Okay.
So it's just an update on that one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
December meeting dates.
Yep, just a reminder that meeting dates were changed a while ago, so we're looking at December 7th at 9 a.m. and December 21st at 1 p.m. As of today, there are no items for the December 21st meeting. December 2nd is the deadline for conditional use permits on that date. And just a reminder, the meeting dates were changed. An additional meeting in December was added because of the situation we had last year. The 2 items had to go before the Board of Commissioners because Planning Commission only went once, and they asked that we fix that.
Right.
So, and that's all for me.
Chitina?
Thank you.
Yep.
Good morning, Chutima Sabun Planner One. I would like to pass this on to the member first.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chitina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, holiday gathering.
So the planning department staff would like to invite the Pennington County Board of Commissioners and Planning Commission members to attend our holiday brunch. And it has been a good year, and staff would like to thank you for your service. It will be on Monday, December 7th at 10 a.m. or immediately following Planning Commission meeting at the Commission Conference Room. And please make a reservation by Wednesday, December 2nd.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you very much.
everybody got that? Thanks, Chitina. Are there any items from the membership? Anybody got anything up here?
I guess a comment, maybe I should have said this during the, Mr. Titus's issue. I guess I had kind of a concern or question. I understand technically we're doing the right thing, but I mean, DNR can't create land. The county has previously issued an operating permit for the on-site system. Isn't DNR gonna defer back to the local jurisdiction? I don't know, it just seems like, I understand why, and I didn't say anything during that issue because Mr. Titus didn't object to that or, you know, have any issue, and everybody had contacted Scott Hippel, so it's probably a non-issue, but it just seems like here we've already approved on-site systems, they've been operating for years, and now they're improving the situation, and we're still saying they gotta go through another hoop.
Sure. The only reason that we requested that is because it is the state's administrative rules, and we're not comfortable making that decision for them based on their rules.
Had we decided to eliminate that one condition, would that have been a problem for you guys?
Eliminate what condition?
The condition that they go to DENR for approval of an existing, already permitted system?
No, and typically, we work with the applicants far ahead of when they come into you, so he was well aware that he had those requirements. We typically try not to make a decision based on somebody else's rules, so that's where we leave it at Scott. If he feels that it's a non-issue, then he can make comment to that, but because it is an administrative rule, it is a lot size requirement in their rules. And typically, when we have these requests, all local, state, and other guidelines, we try to make sure that they at least are aware of them and they have an opportunity to follow them or make contact with those agencies. And it's up to those agencies whether they require anything from them. So we kind of leave it in that agency's.
Well, and I understand that,
Jurisdiction.
that's why I didn't bring that up. I mean, just, but it's, like I said, what are they gonna do? Tell you have to create land? You know, they're not, you know, and they're, you know, are they gonna shut down somebody that's been operating, the county's already approved? I don't see that happening
That's
either.
actually, we're increasing the size of the lot from what it was before
Right.
by a small amount, but
Anyway, but,
it's gotta be a non-issue.
and like in this issue, and I know Stacy well, and so I've talked to him, I mean, I know he wasn't objecting to it, but I guess I just look at that.
Shut it down.
If other people's situation that don't understand why they're having to jump through another hoop when the county's already blessed them, so.
Right. Had he not already been in process, I would have requested that we eliminate that condition.
And most of the time before they come to you, they're aware of those requirements and they're typically in contact with those agencies far ahead of time. There's a lot of times, you know, with core permits and things like that, we don't make those requirements. We let that agency determine whether or not they're required, so.
Okay, thanks, Brittany.
Madam Chair, I would like to make note that after each of these presentations, there's almost no questions, and I think that's a tribute to the preparation of the staff on the various applications.
Thank you, Barb. I think that's an excellent point. We haven't had any 5-hour meetings in a long time. We really appreciate that. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, no. Okay, item 24, adjournment. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Glenn.